Why do clients sometimes make silly decisions? Why do some say they want to save for retirement and yet then spend like there's no tomorrow? Why do some confidently articulate goals that they say are important to them and then yet not do the things necessary to reach those goals? Or maybe change their mind before they get to that point? Or maybe reach their goals but then not achieve the level of happiness and life satisfaction that they thought they might obtain from reaching that goal? And why do some confidently say that, well, they're a long-term investor and they're not that concerned about short-term market volatility, and yet when the market falls by 20%, well, they want to switch their investments to cash? These are some of the questions that we're going to be addressing in this series of behavioural finance e-learning modules. Now, what these modules are going to show is that a lot of the psychological challenges that advisors face, these decision-making problems that they face with their clients, well, often they're derived from subconscious decision-making processes that can happen or occur beyond a client's conscious awareness and control. And when things happen beyond someone's conscious awareness and control, well, the logic and the reasoning and the sort of rational explanations that advisors can use and the rational arguments they can use with their clients, well, they might not necessarily be that effective. And so, but what that evidence can show us is that in addition to those sort of more rational, logical approaches, well, advisors can also use a toolkit of psychological tools that can help address some of those sort of more psychological, deep-seated issues. So who is this series of e-learning modules for? Well, it's for financial advisors. It's for financial advisors who want to better understand the drivers of their clients' decisions, to be able to better predict how their clients are likely to respond to different situations. It's also for advisors who want to be able to better engage with and influence their clients. So hopefully that means their clients are more likely to accept their advice. They're more likely to implement the advice. And they're more likely to do the things necessary to reach their goals. And it's also for advisors who want to build more trust and commitment in their relationships with their clients, to help their clients to better appreciate the value of their advice, which hopefully means the client is more willing to pay a fair price for that advice. Perhaps it means the client is more likely to stick with the advisor over the long term and maybe even refer one or two of their friends as well. Now, each of these sort of the sort of psychological mechanisms that we're going to look at is going to have various implications, which we're going to specifically address in terms of, well, how can an advisor use these in their business? In some cases, it can be in their face-to-face conversations. In some cases, it might be on their website or in a fact-find document or a risk profiling tool. The different aspects of the advice document, investment report, how graphs are shown, how the order in which returns are shown, what you put in the header of a PowerPoint slide for a presentation versus the body of the slide versus perhaps what's in an appendix or accessible via a link, how application forms are completed. A whole raft of different ways that these sorts of behavioural principles can be applied. Now, whilst these can be very relevant for Australian advisors, New Zealand advisors, people from the UK, US, Canada, wherever, in the case of Australian advisors in particular, behavioural finance is now especially relevant given that it's part of the FASEA exam that all advisors have to complete. It's part of all advisors' ongoing CPD requirements, and for many advisors it's now an obligation for them to complete a behavioural finance bridging unit. So in addition to those other client engagement benefits, hopefully these series of e-learning modules can also help Australian advisors to satisfy some of those regulatory requirements too.